What are you, really? That voice in your head, that constant feeling of being me, what is it? Well, we're going to dive into a classic book called The Mind's Eye to explore a wild idea. What if yourself is basically a beautiful, complex illusion?
Okay, let's just jump right in with a famous thought experiment. Imagine this. A machine on Mars scans you like every single molecule. It beams that information to Earth where a second machine builds a perfect copy of you. Then, the original you on Mars is destroyed. So here's the big question. Did you survive? Are you now living happily on Earth, or did you die on Mars and this thing on Earth is just a copy? This one puzzle right here really gets to the core of what we even mean when we say I.
So yeah, that whole Mars problem leads us straight to the fundamental question. What even is the I? You know that feeling, right? Like there's a solid, continuous you living somewhere behind your eyes. But what if that feeling is just completely wrong? And this quote just nails the total mind-bending confusion of it all. The person on Earth is thinking, of course I survived. I'm right here. They have all your memories, your feelings, everything. But, from the outside, it really looks like one person got vaporized and a brand new one was printed out. So who's telling the truth here?
Think about the huge difference between saying, I have a brain and I am a brain. The first one, I have a brain, makes it sound like you're a little pilot, a ghost in the machine driving your body around. But the second one, I am a brain, well, that suggests there's no pilot at all. There's just the machinery. It's a subtle shift, but it changes everything. And the truth, well, it's not that simple.
So here's the twist. Maybe we're searching for the wrong thing entirely. Maybe the I isn't a physical object. It's not a soul. Maybe it's more like a pattern. Think of it like a complex piece of software running on the hardware of your brain, or like the game of chess. Chess exists, right? It has rules, history, strategies, but you can't hold chess in your hand. It's an abstract pattern. What if the self is like that?
Okay, so how can a pattern feel like a person? To get our heads around this, let's use a really cool analogy, the ant colony. This is going to show us how something really smart can come from a bunch of, well, mindless parts.
Think about a single ant. It's basically a tiny robot, right? It follows a few simple rules, totally clueless about the big picture. But the colony as a whole, which the book calls Aunt Hillary, that's a different story. The colony can build incredible structures, wage wars, farm fungus. It seems intelligent. This idea, where the whole system is way smarter than its individual parts, that's called emergence.
And here's how that intelligence gets built up, layer by layer. At the very bottom, you've got your individual, kind of dumb ants. They bunch up into teams to do a specific job. Then, those teams start acting like signals, moving stuff and information around the colony. And at the very top, these signals combine to form high-level symbols, which is basically the colony's knowledge about its world. It's a ladder of complexity. And that is the key. If you stare at one ant, you'll never get it. You have to zoom out and look at the whole system, the high-level patterns, to see the intelligence. But this leads to a really deep question. Can a pattern, an idea, actually cause something to happen? Can an abstract concept move physical things around? Well, that question leads us to a seriously weird but amazing concept. It's the idea that, yes, abstract patterns can be the real cause of physical events. It's a concept called downward causality. All right, to wrap your head around this, picture a massive computer built entirely out of dominoes. It's been carefully designed to do one thing: test if a number is a prime number. So we set it up to test the number 641. We tip the first domino, and this huge, complex chain reaction starts. But somewhere in the middle of all this falling, there's one specific domino that just doesn't fall. The question is, why? Now, you can give the obvious, low-level answer, well, it didn't fall because the domino before it didn't hit it. And yeah, that's technically true. But it's not really the reason, is it? It doesn't explain anything. The real, high-level reason is way more interesting. That domino didn't fall because 641 is a prime number. Think about that. An abstract mathematical fact is the best explanation for a physical thing not happening. That right there is downward causality. It's when the best why for something isn't about atoms and physics, but about the big, abstract rules of the whole system. So, just like the primeness of a number controlled a physical domino, maybe, just maybe, the abstract pattern of you is what's controlling your physical neurons.
Okay, so if you're a high-level pattern, how does the brain actually create and maintain something so complex? This brings us to the last piece of the puzzle, and it's a real mind-bender, something called the self-referential loop. Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine you point a video camera at the TV screen that's showing its own feed. You get that crazy infinite tunnel effect, right? Images within images. What's happening is the system is seeing itself and feeding that image back into itself. It's a simple loop, but it creates this amazing, stable pattern. Well, your brain is doing pretty much the same thing, just on a ridiculously more complex level. It's not just looking at the world, it's looking at itself looking at the world. It builds models of its own thoughts and feelings using words like belief, desire, and the big one, me. This creates this constant feedback loop between the actual physical neurons and the abstract idea of a self that they're busy creating. And this quote just puts it so perfectly. Your brain is like a typhoon of chaotic electrical signals. But right in the middle, in the eye of that storm, held steady by this weird self-reflecting loop, is this calm, stable pattern. And that pattern is what you experience as I. So when we put all these pieces together, the ant colony, the dominoes, the video camera, we get to a pretty shocking conclusion. The self isn't a thing. It's more like a story. Maybe it's an illusion, but it's an incredibly important one. All right, let's just pull this all together. The self isn't some little pilot sitting in your skull. It's a high-level pattern caused by, well, downward causality. It emerges out of the mindless chatter of your neurons, just like a smart colony emerges from simple ants. And this whole incredible show is held together by that bizarre, loopy magic of the brain looking at itself. Now, look, this can feel weird, a little unsettling even. And this quote from the book really gets at that feeling. The idea that you are just a byproduct, or maybe even an artificial concept, it could really shake you up. It can feel like we're being knocked off our pedestal as the main character of the universe. And just so you know, all these crazy ideas and thought puzzles come from this amazing book. It was put together by Douglas Hofstadter and Dennett, and it's basically designed to do exactly this, make us seriously question everything we thought we knew about the self. But here's the really important part. Calling the self an illusion doesn't mean it's not real or that it doesn't matter. Not at all. It might be the brain's most important creation. It's the story that lets this incredibly complex bag of neurons act like one unified person out in the world. You could almost say it's the operating system for being human. So I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Is a beautiful piece of music less real because it's just a pattern of vibrations in the air? Is your favorite book less real because it's just a pattern of ink on paper? Maybe saying the self is a pattern doesn't make it less real. Maybe that's the only way it could be real in the first place.